Look at the map of Westeros, and you'll immediately see the problem with House Stark. They govern a frozen wasteland. Their population is incredibly sparse, and their armies are scattered across a territory larger than all the other kingdoms combined. Add to that an unbroken streak of catastrophe. Over the course of a few years, they face massive political betrayals, multiple hostile invasions, the execution of their patriarch, and what appears to be the total extinction of their entire family line. Yet, by the end of the story, the richest and most heavily armed families in the realm have completely destroyed themselves, while the Starks emerge fully intact, holding more influence than anyone thought possible. How exactly does a family with practically every geographic and political disadvantage outlast everyone else? The answer contradicts almost everything we assume about how to acquire and hold power. The standard explanation usually boils down to one word: honor.
People point straight to Eddard Stark, the ultimate moral compass. This is a philosophy that demands absolute adherence to personal principles. Even if it means losing your position, your wealth, or your life, you do the right thing regardless of the consequences. In a ruthless political ecosystem, that specific brand of inflexibility is a massive liability. It makes your actions entirely predictable to opponents who have no rules at all. Ned's rigid refusal to compromise his principles directly led to his own execution and the immediate collapse of his household guard in King's Landing. If moral purity alone was the foundation of this family, the Stark bloodline would have vanished centuries ago. Their survival relies on a much older, quieter mechanism. We have to look back thousands of years. Long before the Iron Throne was even forged, the Starks ruled the North continuously. Sustaining a dynasty for millennia is not a fluke. It is a highly tested system. That system was engineered by the environment itself. The North is defined by multi-year winters and persistent, grinding resource scarcity. Entire communities can freeze or starve if they miscalculate their grain stores. This diagram illustrates the cultural divide. On the left, you see the priorities of the southern houses, competing for royal titles, accumulating gold, and navigating court politics. Look at the right side. In the North, survival demands absolute cooperation, food preservation, and mutual defense. Arrogance up here gets everyone killed. Notice what happens over time. The Southern strategy spikes quickly into fragile peaks of immense wealth. The Northern strategy expands outward, building a heavy, immovable foundation. This is why their famous motto, "Winter is coming," is not a battle cry. It is a philosophy, enforcing continuous, daily preparation for disaster. The brutal geography forced them to adopt a specific strategic advantage, prioritizing long-term endurance over short-term glory. Down south, rival houses build their empires using leverage. They command armies through intimidation, buy mercenary loyalty with gold, or force marriages for temporary truces. These are purely transactional relationships. The moment a leader loses a battle or the gold mines run dry, those alliances shatter instantly. The Starks spent centuries cultivating shared cultural identity. When a lesser lord swears fealty to Winterfell, they are participating in a multi-generational bond of mutual protection. The North remembers is a literal description of institutional loyalty. Even after the Red Wedding, when House Stark is publicly decimated, remaining Northern lords continue risking their lives for the Stark name. You cannot purchase that kind of devotion. Culturally embedded loyalty creates a decentralized network of support that persists long after a specific ruler dies. Robb Stark is a perfect example of what happens when you deviate from that system. He was a brilliant tactician who won every battlefield engagement, yet his entire campaign collapsed the moment he was assassinated. Take a look at this hierarchy chart. It represents a single point of failure. When an entire power structure is built around one dominant, charismatic leader, the entire system breaks the second they are removed from the equation. But watch what happens with a decentralized model. If a key node dies, the network immediately rewires itself. The institution survives through the remaining members. The surviving Stark children embody this rewiring process. They absorb devastating trauma and develop highly specialized skills. Sansa masters political caution. Arya learns physical adaptability. Jon develops practical leadership, and Bran acquires vast historical perspective. They adopt completely different, often ruthless methods, yet they never abandon their core identity. They remain Starks. Combining deep cultural roots with aggressive adaptation is the ultimate survival tool. It allows an institution to bend under unimaginable pressure without snapping. Look at the final state of the major players. The families who obsessed over the throne, burning cities and betraying allies for a chance at immediate glory, end up utterly ruined. The Starks, meanwhile, reclaim their ancestral home and dictate the future political structure of the entire continent. They win without massive gold reserves, without overwhelming numerical superiority, and without dragons. Their capacity to absorb staggering losses, evolve their tactics, and simply outlast their enemies proved stronger than any conventional weapon. This dynamic plays out far beyond the borders of fantasy fiction. It applies to businesses, historical empires, and personal adversity. We often assume that the loudest, wealthiest, or most aggressive person in the room will inevitably win, but true longevity belongs to those who maintain their core purpose when traditional structures and comfortable routines collapse around them. It requires the patience to absorb the cold, trust the roots, and keep pushing forward until the ice finally breaks. Because in any enduring conflict, raw power might win a season, but deep resilience wins generations.